and offensive coordinator Joey Halzle. Questions for the coaches? Jimmy, just go ahead.
Tim, why do you think Ohio State had such success with the passing game, in particular, some of their shorter throws?
Yeah, they're a really good program. A lot of good players. They just really did a good job tonight. They didn't do a ton of things that we necessarily hadn't seen on tape. So, our hats off to those guys. I thought they did a tremendous job tonight. And obviously it wasn't our best showing.
Front row.
Joey, can you just talk about the difficulties in the passing game, and did you expect to run Nico as many times as you did?
A lot of the runs that Nico ended up doing was him just extending plays on his own. We did have some designed quarterback run on the play he scored on and a couple third and shorts. We weren't creating big plays in the pass game. Weren't creating big windows. We had difficulty up front. It was an entire unit where from start to finish it couldn't get anything to pop going right there. That's why you ended up seeing him running with the ball in his hand a lot.
David.
For both of you guys, Coach Heupel mentioned just losing one-on-ones a little bit tonight. For the offensive line and for the DBs when that happened, what is the message in the middle of the game to kind of keep them engaged and try to prevent that from happening again?
Yeah, I mean, we've played a lot of, good football around here, and we've beaten a lot of good teams. So you're going to see good skill, week in and week out. I thought our guys, competed all night, and gave it their best effort. It just unfortunately we just came up a little short tonight.
Yeah, similar answer. You go on the road against good competition. If you're not playing on the right side of the margins, it gets real tough real fast. Similar to what Coach Banks said, like we've played really good defenses in the past. Tonight we just weren't on the right side of those margins and the small details to allow us to make the big plays on the back end.
Chris.
Joey, I know you had a couple of your key guys, receiver, that were hurt tonight, but when you can't make big plays down the field, either guys aren't getting open or you're not protecting well enough, how much does that hinder what you're trying to do offensively, especially against the guys that are this talented?
Yeah, it's kind of a sum of all the parts, right? When we're not creating the explosives, whether it's poor calls or poor execution, like whatever that may be, it puts you in a phone booth a little bit. Those guys start teeing off up front, so it's just from the entire sum of the entire night is we didn't stretch them enough. We didn't force them to respect us going by them enough to make them change up what they were doing. So. When you let them play comfortable, when you let them play in their game plan and don't make them change, it creates long nights like what happened tonight.
In the back.
Joey, what do you think contributed, not just tonight, but over the course of the season, to some of the games when y'all have had a lack of explosive plays in the passing game?
Yeah, again, it's never one thing, right? It's a lot of situations of everyone taking a turn, like where you get somebody open and then maybe you don't win up front and then you're dominating up front, you don't get open, and then you dominate up front, you get open and you miss the throw. Like if you just take your turn, like over the course of 65, 70 plays, if 11 guys take their turn one time, man, that's a big percentage of your plays right there. So it's about playing. Offensive football is always about playing as a unit. If one guy's off, it ain't going to work. So that's what you're fighting, you're clawing, you're competing for all off season, all week in prep, and like I said tonight, we weren't on the right side of that.
Adam.
Joey, we asked Hop about personnel, upgrading personnel this offseason. How much of the plan in terms of protection and receiver needs to be about maximizing Nico next year, about adding guys that can help Nico?
I'll let Hype answer that part of the personnel, but as far as it goes through your quarterback. That's who it is. When you have a quarterback, that's what it goes through. Like that's why the guys in the NFL, that's what everything is. It's about supplying a team around them. If you got a quarterback that can make it go, our job is to make sure that we have the pieces in the scheme to allow him to be his best.
Joe, then Jimmy.
Joey, how much did you expect to have Dylan available tonight, and just how much did the game plan change?
We knew Dylan wasn't at 100%. We knew he was going to go early and he was going to give it a shot. Whenever that guy's not at 100%, he's SEC Offensive Player of the Year. Like, right, he makes everything go. So losing him and actually not even having him at full speed was tough. But that's part of the job is when you're not healthy, when you're not 100%, what are you going to do to get the job done? We didn't get it done tonight.
Joey, without Sampson, does it change your game plan or your play calling?
It can. Like I said, we knew he wasn't at 100%. We were hopeful that he was gonna, be able to go full speed tonight. And then the other thing is we never, we didn't get him going too as much as we would have hoped. But yeah, whenever you don't have a guy of that caliber, it hurts. It makes it more difficult. Yeah.
Patrick, then Ben.
Tim, you guys had a couple stops there in the second quarter to kind of get you guys back in the game. Then the third quarter, you weren't able to sustain on defense. What was the issues there to start the third quarter for you guys?
Yeah, it's always difficult. We had a couple calls, that didn't quite go our way, based on the situation. So, I mean, again, I don't want to be a broken record, but, you just got to take your hat off to Ohio State. They did a tremendous job tonight. Like I said, I have the utmost faith in our guys, and, I'm very proud of, what they've done to this point. So it's super disappointing. We only got a couple stops. To beat a team of that caliber, we obviously need to play our best game. And unfortunately, we didn't do that tonight.
Jim, what led to Ohio State maybe being able to control the line of scrimmage more than we've seen from your group this year, and was that surprising to you?
Yeah, I think anytime it goes hand in hand. Your back end, your front. Different things you have to do coverage-wise. To get a front the best chance to be successful and vice versa. So we just weren't able to find that combination tonight, to give us a chance to play winning defense.
Yep. Tim, I'm curious, how much do you think their success offensively was because of what they did, and how much of it was you guys not doing what you're capable of doing?
Yeah, I think the truth always lies somewhere in the middle. You obviously got to be a defense that doesn't beat themselves, and obviously when you're playing great talent. So, obviously we'll evaluate the tape a little bit closer to have a better answer, but I think overall, some things that, we like to do better, and unfortunately we didn't.
Front row.
You guys both this year had the luxury of a lot of multi-year seniors up front. What's that going to be like, saying goodbye to a lot of friendly faces who played a lot of football around here, and just kind of, developing again for next year?
Well, for me, as I told those guys in the locker room, when a lot of guys decided to leave here, when we took this job, those guys stayed, so I'll forever be grateful for that. I love those guys. They gave us everything they had, and then the class that came right after them, we're still building. Those guys came to be a part of it. So, we're going to miss those guys. It's going to be very hard to replace, the leadership that those guys gave us, but we feel really good about some of the young guys that we've brought in and some of the guys that, showed some promise earlier in the year. So, the standard will be the standard. We're excited about the youth that we have, and, yep, we'll miss the leadership, but we're definitely got some guys that are going to, pick it up.
Yeah, similar like a guy like, I see Cooper Mays afterwards. It's like, man, it's going to be weird walking into the facility next time and him not standing in there. For those guys, because when we got here, everybody had the opportunity to leave because with the coaching change and the rules with the portal and everything, and the fact that those guys chose to stay and that they're still here, and where they took this program from 21 to 24, where we're in the college football playoff, like, man, like the Tennessee fan base should long love that entire group of guys that helped bring this program back to where it is. And to what Coach Banks was saying, for the young guys in there, the message is this doesn't happen. Like, you don't just get to go to the college football playoff. What those guys did to get us here, it's now their time to step in and become those leaders, become the vocal and the physical leaders, become the guys that make the plays. They've been watching for a year or 2 years, and now it's time for them to step up. But the biggest thing is none of this ever just happens. Nothing in this game is given. Nothing just happens by surprise. Everything's earned. Everything you get and everything you don't get. So that's the message moving forward. There's a lot of competition out there now. There's a lot of open spots that are up to be taken. So we should have a really high-end off-season to go get us right back where we want to be.
Any other questions for the coordinators? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.